Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And today is the second of the two black line Daff rations that I got from foreignmre.com. They arrived like about the beginning of the month. I see LC and Infos in the house. Thanks for dropping in. This is the other salmon one. I bought both of these black line Daff rations as a pair because they are sold as a pair. And they still have a few on the website. I checked the site earlier and they have a few pairs of the red line Daff, which is labeled as the police ration. It's got like 1,000 calories. Whereas this one has 1,500 plus calories on average. So this is labeled as a civilian line, but it's the same company. The same company produces the tan bag military ration. The red line is labeled as the police ration for their national police. So that one has fewer calories, but pretty much the same menu makeup. So this one is menu 5. The salmon entrees are my favorite of the Daff rations that I did get to try. I would love to get my paws on one of the military ones, the tan bag. And this one, this was like this when it came in, so the bag is not completely sealed. I can squeeze air out of it. But that's just where this seal right here was broken, so it might have happened during transit. But I got my cheaters out, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this right here. There is no tear notch on these bags. Actually, I didn't quite do that right, so I didn't cut below the seal. But these are very, very sturdy bags, so I will give them that. So there are some similarities to the other one. Got 2 coffees. One goes into my Foreign MRE mug. The other one will go to this side. This is that very hard to mix pineapple drink, and there is moisture inherent in this. This has a Best Buy of November 22, this particular drink, so I am assuming that this was made a couple years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. These only have their Best Buy or expiration dates, not a production date. But I brought the tall glass back out for that, and a long spoon to mix it. Got the big cracker, which is basically a big cookie. See, the tear notch is below the top of the cookie, so there's a trick to opening those. The English label nearly peeled off, but this is the plain, unroasted, unsalted peanuts with raisins. Get vacuum sealed, but apparently it's filled from the bottom and then sealed down here, but the tear notch is here. So I just may use the scissors and cut it open this way. As the last time it had apricots in syrup, but it says on syrup. This is plums in syrup. So that's a little different. Now here is the berries jam. And there's something powdery on here. I think that's from the ration heater because it does not feel like anything else. And it is all over the salmon stew. But when I put this into boiling water, that will take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Got the accessory pack, which I'll open in a bit. And here is the flameless ration heater, although it doesn't feel dusty. But it's a very thick pad, about the same size as one of those super warmers, like the hot hand super warmers that can last up to 18 hours. I can feel the crap on that. Let's see, I see Robert is here. And I think that's it. The only other, then that is it for the bag. As usual, I will use the ration bag as a trash bag. When I take the salmon stew into the kitchen to rinse off, I'm going to take this in there and actually have another idea for that. Pat Miller in the house, thanks for dropping in. I'm going to move that to the side so it can open up the accessory pack. My Daff spork, which is separately bagged, that I got from the last ration, is now in my get home bag. And I think I have one in my bug out bag, but if not, I'll put this one in there. So I got a napkin. And hopefully this time, one of the salt packets will not be messed up like last time there was a hole in it. No salt coming out, so both of these salt packets are good. So got 6 sugar packets. So apparently either they like coffee with their sugar, or they put sugar on something else, or just pocket the packets for use throughout the day. Maybe they just suck down one. This drink mix is almost, I mean, it's pretty darn hard. I'm having a hard time declumping it, but I'm doing it in the pack. Spicy tuna rolls is here. It would be nice if Daff would change up the flavors of this drink, because I'm sure the person in the field would like a change from the pineapple. There is Dada in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'm actually using the spoon to crush the clumps up a little bit more. I'm only going to put that much water in it for now. I'm just going to leave it like that. As usual, these rations do not come with creamer. I think this is a bit too big. It's a little, there we go. That's a little too zoomed in. I don't know why I did that, but. So anyway, I am going to take these 2 pouches into the kitchen. I'm going to clean off the berries jam pouch. There is James Ortiz in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I'll put this in the boiling water, the salmon stew. And that will take care of the powder residue on it. So anyway, I'll be right back. I'm back with the hot water for the coffee. I'll use my foreign emery spork to stir it. You can still get these and the mugs at foreignemery.com. They also still have a few of the brown bag emery corned beef hash. Those are still available on the site. So if you've never tried that one, if you're looking to try a brown bag emery, I highly suggest that one. I've had 2 of those. And they were both absolutely perfect. There's my coffee. And I have this bowl here that I'm going to do the cobbler thing. I'm gonna I just hissed. Well, it didn't get a hiss, but it allowed enough of a hole where I can break this up in the bag. This is the same thing that I do when I'm doing ramen. I break it up in the bag. That way it makes the ramen a lot easier to eat. And by doing this with these big cookies, it'll be easier to make the ration cobbler. Now I can open up the rest of the way. I actually left the berries jam pouch in the kitchen on purpose. It's actually sitting on a part of the stove that, closer to the front, but yet where it's warm. It will not take much to warm that up. Now I'm going to try a little something else. Since this has a lot of juice in it, I'm going to see if the plum juice I can smell it. So I'm going to pour some of it off into here. I don't want the plum to come out. I just want some of the juice or syrup to come out. This is going to be a bit messy, but oh well. Looks like the plums are just the same texture as the apricots were. Very, very mushy. I'm just reaching across to give my drink another stir before I do anything else. There, I just broke the vacuum on the peanuts and raisins so I can actually push them down. Booger Butt is here. DeCarlos Perry in the house. Thanks, guys, for dropping in. Makes it easier if you just rip it enough to break the vacuum. Then it'll be easier. I'm going to put some of those here, since I'm not using one of these sections for the big cookies, because I have it in the bowl. So these are unsalted, unroasted peanuts, clumping with the raisins, because the raisins are sticky. But for those just coming in, this is the Chilean black line Daff ration. This is menu 5, salmon stew with vegetables. I will take care of fixing the title later, because when I'm doing these titles on my phone through the YouTube app, you only get so much. You get 60 characters, including spaces, when you're doing the title, but when you edit it later, say when I go into the YouTube studio on the web browser, you know, the desktop version of the site, I go in there to add it to a playlist, or you know, I can finish off the title, put everything in there that belongs in there. So by the way, Dave is on the mend from his surgery. And speaking of people on the mend, Well, we hope that he does heal up soon. Yossi in the Simple Kitchen went to the ER in his town in Israel because he jacked his back big time. And so he needs your thoughts and prayers for healing and a proper diagnosis from the doctor. He did serve in the Israeli military, so I don't know obviously if that is something that's reared up again to bite him in the back or if it's something totally new. But anyway, he was hurting so bad that he had to haul tail to the ER. So anyway, so please pray for Yossi in the Simple Kitchen. So I mentioned that in Garden State Gardeners Sunday Fun Day chat that I was in before I kicked out to set up for my stream. Anyway, I am going to go back into the kitchen. Yeah, we'll get that berries jam and I'll show you what I'm going to do. It didn't get too warm, but that's okay. I also just wanted to make sure it was completely dry and clean after the residue that I got off of it. So for those that have not seen this berries jam before, it is not a jam in the sense that we know it here in the US and Canada or England or in any place like that. It's more of a syrup and it has a few bits of fruit in it. So because it is more of a syrup, a good way to use it is to mix it up with these big cookies into a ration cobbler. And I have a bit of the plum syrup in here, so it has a little bit more moisture to it. And give it a bit of a different flavor. So I will set that back there. So now my main should be done. Actually, I'm going to fix this just a little bit. There we go. You see more of the tray, and I could probably zoom it out just a little bit more. Oh, maybe not. I think that's zoomed out enough as far as I can go. But anyway, I'll be right back. I am back. I am drying off the pouch, so it'll be easier to handle. I will put that back there. That residue is gone. It's nowhere near as bad as when you get some of the Chinese rations that have the retort pouch already sealed in the FRH. Well, this one's not opening very well. I'll just finish that off. This is going to be very liquidy. Unlike the paella, which is more solid because of all of the rice. That's pretty much it that was in there. But as in the paella, pretty good sized pieces of salmon. There's potato, carrots, corn, peas, and a little bit of rice. It tastes like chicken broth or chicken bouillon is used. Here's a look at a piece of the salmon. So the salmon is pretty much the same texture as in the paella. Oh, sorry for your loss, De Carlos. That had to be a real kick in the dupa for the family. Yeah, I was gone last Saturday, so I missed out on a lot of anything that was going on, and it just too much of a bother to try to catch up with everybody. But I hope that everything will go well with settling her final affairs. So my condolences to the family. Yeah, Dave, you can handle this. You're not going to handle this alone, you know. People got your back. The potatoes are very soft. This and that is here. Thanks for dropping in. The carrots are soft. Peas still have a little bit of bite to them. So does the corn. But the flavor is there. It just tastes like the salmon has been put in chicken broth or chicken bouillon. I'm going to call this one either 2020 or 2019. I don't know what the shelf life is on these Daff rations. I'm assuming 3 years. Ooh, ouch. That makes it doubly hard. Ugh, cancer sucks. My maternal grandmother had bone cancer, and it was really, really hard. Yeah, she had to endure it for 6 months before the cancer finally took her from us. But the thing is, you know, that suffering has ended. Of course, that leaves a big hole in your family's hearts. But to know that they are not dealing with that pain anymore. Yeah, that's good that you're able to get in those last conversations. With them before they do go. That's what my dad really struggled with in his last few days of being able to communicate with certain people he wanted to back in '08 before cancer finally took him from us. But my mom is back in a rehab facility after spending some more time in the hospital with an intestinal issue. So She really doesn't need much in the way of physical or occupational therapy, but she's there because she needs assistance with management of a drain. And some medication management that she would otherwise not be able to get at home. And then she will have that drain removed. We don't know what will be next as far as that goes. Oh, that sucks, LC. Too bad you weren't able to get that transferred over. Say, play it and have another device record it, then you can transfer that file to a computer or to a USB drive or memory card. That'd be one way of preserving things like that. Yeah, my mom has one that she saved from my dad. Yeah, she has it duplicated on her laptop. That way, if it gets dropped off of her phone, she can back it up. Or she has trouble with that, you know, one of my sisters or someone else in the family can help her back that up. She may not be the greatest with technology since she's 79, but you know, she's getting pretty good. So back when my parents needed to learn how to use a computer for the apartment management job that they had, I was the first one in my family to get a computer, so I was spending a lot of time over there helping them set up some of their files, and I did some translating of stuff to Spanish. I translated an entire lease form. Yeah, that took a bit of doing, but I got it done. Wow. Yeah. There was a woman here in Iowa who recently died. She was 115. Until she died, she was the oldest woman in the U.S. Yeah, it's a shame she didn't quite get there, but at least she was close. I'm gonna have a bunch of these peanuts and raisins. I'm stirring the pineapple drink again. Yeah, it's a bummer. My dad died as young as he did. But when that cancer strikes, it can hit you when you least expect it. Yeah, the brother of one of my cousins, he died young, but we still don't know what caused his death because he was not in an accident. Yeah, it was not related to alcohol abuse or drugs or anything like that. So it just had to be something freaky. But his sister, she beat breast cancer and she's still going strong. Well, look who it is. Nina4nemery.com. Dropping that super chat, saying hello to everybody. I'm eating the salmon stew. And I took a little bit of the plum syrup and I added it to the berries jam with the broken up big crackers, or as I like to call them, big cookies. So that's kind of sitting there hanging out. Army cobbler, so to speak. So I hope Art and Nina, I hope you two are having good progress on the new place so you can get in there pretty soon. And you check out the Foreign Emery YouTube channel. You'll see ration reviews as well as they do giveaways sometimes. And whenever they do get inventory, they will show what they get in. Here is Nation MRE info. Thanks for dropping in. I actually have a couple of green beans in this salmon stew. So this ration, like I said earlier, I'm guessing it was either produced in 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure. But the best buy dates on some of the items say 22. Yeah, for instance, the coffee, December 17th of 22. But we know about the instant coffee. They last a pretty good long time in these little Mylar packets. And I really like the Chilean coffee. It's, although he hasn't done a video in quite some time, Dub C, this is his favorite ration coffee. And I would agree with him on that. He's working his dupa off big time, so that's why he hasn't been able to put up any videos lately, but hopefully he will get a break and he can do one, because he's done some great stuff on his channel. But I wouldn't be surprised if the coffee that Daff uses is a local product. They get it from not too far away, right there in Chile. This is not the full 500 mils of water that I put in here. But I will add a little bit more from my bottle. About that much. This bottle holds 500 mils, so there's a little bit left in the bottle. But I like to make these drinks a little bit strong sometimes. Even the ones that call for 16 ounces or 500 mils or even 20 ounces, I'll just mix them in my drinking jar, because I feel like I get more flavor when I make it a little stronger. There's my cursor in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I watched one of his New Zealand ration segments today. It looked like a pretty good one. By the way, Mike is going to be having a giveaway when he gets up to 200. So he showed off in the video that I saw today an insulated tumbler that he has his channel logo on. Let's see what is what a piece of a plum looks like. They're actually whole pitted plums. And it tastes just like, when you drink prune juice. That's pretty much what this is like. It's a thicker syrup than the apricot syrup. So it's probably a more concentrated juice. That's part of it. But they're basically like canned plums that you would get here in the US, but they're softer. It's the canned plums that I've had here have been a bit firmer. And the syrup therein is a little bit thinner. Than the syrup that's in this one. By the way, this thing that you see here is part of my foam mount. I've messed with trying to reposition to get it out of the way, but where I would put the way that I got this set up, I don't have a good place to put my foam mount to clip it to the table, because I actually have it right next to my desk, and I move it when I want to get at my trash can. This desk has a door cabinet, and that's where I keep the trash can so that no cat can get into it, but I can clip the foam mount to this table. But I plug my phone into a power bank just to make sure that I have full juice when I'm streaming. Usually I make sure the phone is fully charged power bank, just in case, because I've had it happen where I would totally lose power and it would just shut down and I'm not paying attention, so I don't want to have that happen anymore. I'm going to go ahead and grab this bowl. Now these pieces have absorbed a lot of the liquid and they've gotten soft. Again, this is my version of an army cobbler. Let me get that thing to focus. Adding that little bit of the plum syrup cuts through the berry flavor a little bit, but not too much. So you can see it's probably a blackberry. All right, knocked the cookie off. Nope, that was a blueberry. So, like blueberries, maybe blackberries, maybe black raspberry in here. So the big crackers are basically like, they're that thick. There are two of them. I bust them up. I put them in the bowl. Then I pour the berries jam on top. And this time I added a little bit of this plum syrup to it, and then mixed it up, and then I just let it sit. So you think of a cobbler as like being bits of a crust with a fruit mixture in a syrup. That's basically what I did. I'm just scrolling back through the chat to see if I missed anything. Nope. But that's basically what I did to make that army cobbler. To me, that's the best way to use the berries jam. And because those big crackers are more sweet than savory, I figure they lend themselves to that kind of a treatment. There's not much left of the salmon that's in here. So it basically looks like chicken soup now. The broth tastes like chicken broth. But it's still good. It's just that the carrots, the potatoes, the green beans, and the rice are pretty soft. But you get a canned chicken and rice soup, the rice is going to be soft. Would have been nice to have a little bit more of the salmon in this one. I think the last time I had it, there was a bit more salmon in it. But the salmon that was in there had the same texture as it did in the paella. Not heavily processed, more chunked. It would be like what you would get when you buy canned salmon that doesn't have the skin or the bone in it. But just from a bigger piece of salmon that's been flaked up a bit. I probably could have put this in a bowl too, but it's just as easy to eat this out of my tray. And the Chilean coffee, I put a little creamer and sugar in it. Because I like my coffee that way. But for one packet of coffee, I think 3 packets of sugar would be way too much. And in the packet, the coffee only goes up to about here, where my thumbs are. And it's like got probably nitrogen in there. That's probably why these are a little puffy because of that. These are 5-gram sugar packets. Just having another handful of the peanuts and raisins. Yeah, DeCarlos, we all have those days. Especially when you have a lot going on that you got to deal with. and you're getting slammed with it all at once. Like you have. Yeah. Yesterday, one of my sisters picked me up and took me over to the rehab center where my mom is currently staying. Unfortunately, she can't get some time out of there on Thursday, so we will have to have our Thanksgiving dinner without her. Physically present, but someone may call her up and put her on speakerphone so we can all talk to her once, or we just pass the phone around. But she will get some kind of Thanksgiving meal there in the rehab center. It would be nice if the patients there could get, if they're capable of it, just to be out for a few hours to be with family. But maybe that's not their policy, or it's just not going to happen because of, their condition. And so my mom having that drain, she needs to be where someone with the right skills can deal with it, especially if it literally springs a leak. And I personally have never had to deal with that. I had one of those drains after my gallbladder surgery, but I stayed in the hospital till it was removed. So I didn't have to learn how to deal with it at home, and I never had any clients when I was doing home care who had that kind of a thing, so I never learned how to deal with those things. I'm actually not surprised at that. I'm sure most other brands are the same or somewhat close. Yeah, see, these raisins are a bit sticky. The peanuts stick to it. Yeah, now that pineapple drink is the right strength for my liking. It almost tastes like a straight up pineapple juice. But it has all the usual stuff that you would find in one of those isotonic drinks. to give you a little bit of nutrition out of it. I just ate another plum. That was actually busted. It was starting to fall apart. Focus. Here, I'll do this. Trying to get to this syrup. You can see it's thicker than the apricot syrup was a lot thinner. It was more like your typical canned fruit syrup. I'm going back for more of this army cobbler. I think it'd be awesome if there were a few more bits of fruit in here. But as it is, doing it this way definitely makes a good dessert. So if you ever get this ration or any of the Daff rations, making an armory cobbler is the way to go. So next Sunday, I will either pull out my beef ravioli MRE or my last halal MRE that I have. It's one of those in a newer style packaging. That does not have the thick bag with a peelable seal, like the one I opened last time, and was surprised to see that it had the inner bag in it with no writing on it. And it was a newer pack date instead of an older one like I thought it was. And as I said when I was doing that one, I'm guessing that one was an occasion where they had old stock of those thicker bags, so they needed to use those up. And they just got some of the clear inner bags with no writing on it and used, and that's what Subpaco did to pack those halal rations in that particular run. I'm guessing that's what they ended up doing it that way because of that stock that they somehow had of the older bag style, and they just wanted to use them up. Talking to yourself, Spicy? You know, I'm just messing with you. Gotta have a little fun. So I will pull out one of those rations next Sunday. And I'm still waiting on my Valhalla survival order, so something got messed up there. Just like my Minotaur Trading Company order got messed up. But I finally got that, and that's how I got those halal MREs was Bob dug out of his personal stash and threw them into the box. Along with the other two MREs. You know, the Asian style beef strips, which I've already done. And now the beef ravioli, which I've had that one before. But I think just the main by itself. I don't think I've had it in the full MRE, so I may pull that one out next week. So when the end of the month comes around and I get my money for December, then I will be ordering some more rations because at that point I will be down to one. But I have no idea on where I'm going to go for them. I don't know if I'm going to take my chance on eBay or if I'm going to try all MREs. I haven't ordered from them for a while. Or MRE Mountain, the last time I ordered from them. The French RCIR I ordered got raided by customs and I never heard from them. I sent them pictures, no response. You know, so I don't know where I'm going to go because I would like to get some more foreign rations. I can do the U.S. stuff. I have no issue with that. I'd love to get some more Canadian. There are a few more Canadian menus I would love to try, and I would love to get my paws on one of the newer style Canadian IMPs in the resealable bag instead of the paper lunch bag style. Yeah, that's a chance you take when you buy a food item that comes from another country. you had that possibility that it could get raided by customs. And on a total lark, I ordered an American MRE that was shipped from Lithuania. I was wondering if it would get raided by customs, even though it's a U.S. ration. But it never got raided, so that was a total experiment on my part to see if that one would get messed with or even opened up. But it didn't. And of course, I can always go to a Minotaur Trading Company and check out what Bob's got going on there. Sorry, Elsie, I'm afraid that one might be above my pay grade, which is 0. I'll take another drink of the pineapple. Yeah, I wish Daff would change it up and try some other drink flavors. And it would even be nice if there were more than 6 menu options. I think I've had all 6. And of course, it would be nice if these peanuts were roasted and salted. But as they are, the peanuts taste perfectly fresh. And the raisins taste fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But you get the same thing in every one of these Daff rations. Maybe Elsie is trying to scale up the humor a bit. I'm going for some more of this coffee. By the way, there was a hidden joke in that line that I said. Finished off the plums, and I just grabbed a bit of more of their syrup and stick it in here just for the heck of it. I just got a few of the peanuts and raisins left to finish off. Yeah, the weather here got pretty chilly here last weekend, or this. Yep, this is plenty of food. That's what these rations are designed to do, give you enough food to get you going through at least part of the day. So you can stay fueled up to do the work that you're assigned to do if you're a uniformed person in the field. Or you take one of these rations on a camping trip and you're doing wood processing, setting up your shelter if you have to hike in or out to get to your spot. last weekend when I was camping, we drove to the location and we just had to go down the hill a little bit to get to our spot. And we had a clear area. If you look at my camping video, the Veterans Memorial or the Veterans Weekend Camp, you'll see the setup that we got to work with. I mean, that was definitely not as primitive as you might think, considering we had a covered shed that we could hang out in with a wood stove. And when we were in there, we had that thing cranking. And when we did our shooting Saturday afternoon, we'd shoot a few rounds and then go back into the shed for a bit. And then go back out, shoot a few more rounds if you had to warm up in between. And the big post that they stuck into the ground to hang hammocks from, yeah, that's a pretty awesome setup. I'm sure there's probably a lot of those. As I hear on a radio, some commercial, the guy says, says some silly dad jokes. Oops, sorry about that. It's tall glass. I hit the foam mount, so there we go. Not that there's much to look at anymore since I ate all the food. CT is in the house. This is what I chowed down on. Let me get that thing to focus. This is the black line Daff. So you have to go watch this one from the beginning later when you get the time, if you feel like it. But the salmon stew is one of my favorites from the Daff rations. Yeah. I got the 2 salt packets, 6 sugar packets, and the other coffee, that's it, but I'm saving these for another day. There's Storms in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I've pretty much eaten all the food. The salmon stew, it's not quite up there with the paella, but the salmon had good flavor. The stew broth is chicken broth. Had a good mix of veggies, although most of them were soft. The rice, little bit of rice in there, it was pretty soft, much like you would get, say, if you buy a can of Campbell's chicken and rice soup. The rice will be that texture. Ooh, yeah, that should be a good one. That CR1M that I got from Cyanide Cookies, that one was pretty darn good. So hopefully the one that you get into, or that you got into for this review that you're dropping tomorrow, was pretty good. Oh, yeah, D, that would be one I wouldn't mind getting my paws on. Let's see, I've had G and H. Yeah, that would not be good. Just have to be careful when you pop that tube. Oh, I did the same thing I did with the other Daff ration, the salmon paella. I took the big crackers, which are more like big cookies, crumbled them up, then I put the berries jam on it and let that soak in. And this time, this was the plums in syrup. The last one was the apricots in syrup, or as the retort says, on syrup. That's a bad translation of the Spanish. And I mixed a little bit of that plum syrup in there as well, and I let that sit. Basically, an army cobbler. So that's what was in the bowl. And it works doing that way. So anytime I get one of these rations, that's what I will do with the big crackers and the berries jam, is do that cobbler thing. Yeah, because otherwise that berry, that jam is not really a jam in the sense that we know it. It's actually runnier than the plum syrup. It's more like berry syrup. That's what I would call it if I named it. But the pineapple drink that's supposed to make 500 mils, I do a little bit less than that because I like the flavor when it's that strong. Okay, time to take out the trash. Oops. Yeah. Yep. Take out the trash. So if you're not a mod, you can still report. And I did that anyway. So I do need to modify a few more people. Let's see. Okay, I forgot I already modified him. Wow, that's pretty close. It won't be all that cold when you go through there, so it shouldn't be too bad. In fact, any snow you might see might be melting. Today it got up to 42 Fahrenheit here in Des Moines. And tomorrow it's supposed to be warmer. So I turned my heater back down to 64. It was on 67. So I put it back down on to 64. And the wool blanket that I took with me camping is now on the bed, although I may take it off tomorrow. I just don't feel like taking it off tonight, but I'll take it off probably tomorrow, or at least just fold it up and leave it at the end of the bed. Oh, sorry about that, Storm. I hope I didn't say anything too upsetting. Tuesday and Wednesday, we could crack 50 Fahrenheit. Unless someone decides to change the forecast and throw us a curve. Storm's Radio and Cats hangs out in homesteading, gardening, prepper chats. So that's where he and I know each other from. And I said it earlier, but I'll say it again for those that have come in late. Yossi in the Simple Kitchen hauled tail to the ER earlier. It would be probably, it's overnight there in Israel. So probably about a few hours ago, he hauled tail to the ER because he jacked his back up. And he was hurting big time. He couldn't stand it, so he's getting it checked out. So he could use some prayers for healing. Yeah, Yeah, he's been having some issues on and on, off and off with pain, and I I don't know if it's from his time in the army, if he had some injuries during his missions, or what, or if it's something after that. But yeah, he was hurting so bad that he had to haul tail to the ER in his town and get it checked out. So he'll probably be there at least through the morning, because it's sometime in the morning over there in Israel. I'm not sure how many time zones away ahead that Israel is from here. But 9 hours? I'm just scrolling back through the chat. Oh, ouch, CT. I hope that guy. Oh, heck yeah, CT. I ate lamb. That lamb IMP. Yeah, that's a good one. But that was the paper bag version. But I have one more halal lamb MRE left. So that will be all three of them, because there are now three. So there's the lentils with lamb. Sorry, I briefly got disconnected. So there's the lentils with lamb. There's lamb with vegetables and barley, and the jalfrezi with lamb. So those are the three halal lamb MREs in the new lineup. Yeah, I'll gladly give those halal MREs a good home in my belly. But yeah, there's that halal chicken That chicken stew, that one, that's different than the chicken and noodles. The halal chicken stew I thought was pretty decent. But the lamb ones are better. Huh. I would love to know his eBay store name if he does it under his Delicious name. And speaking of Delicious, that package that he sent me, I'm glad Customs didn't raid it. I would have been very mad. He would have been very mad. But that beef jerky, I could not sit on that one. I ripped into it that night. He made that beef jerky himself. And then the big Arpol can, that the vegetarian dish that is issued as part of a group ration. Oh yeah, it is. And because it's about 10 minutes to 9 here Central Time, it's after midnight over there in Europe, so it is probably like 4 or 5 something in. Oh no, wait. So it's if it's 5 a.m. they're in where Emphos is at, and I'm guessing Israel's probably another couple of time zones ahead there, so it may be like 7, 8 a.m. there, where Yossi's at. But yeah, that package that Delicious sent me, I mixed that lamb tashanka with that cabbage dish. That worked very well together. I really enjoyed the combination of those two. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how far ahead, so it's like 5 a.m. there, or almost 5 a.m. there. Yeah, Yossi went to the ER maybe about a couple hours ago, 3 hours ago, something like that. So he is not having a good night at all. So really hope he can get some relief. Have another drink of this awesome coffee. Yep. In other words, it's already Monday on the other side of the pond. Uh, he jacked his back up big time. So he made a movement that you would think would be no trouble, and then his back just seized up or something. And that really hurt bad, so that's why he went to the ER to get it checked out. So he is one hurting dude. And that last messenger blurb that he sent, he was still waiting for the doctor. You know how it can be in the ER. You get into a room, but then you have to wait for some time for a doctor to come in, depending on how busy that hospital is. And of course, you got to get the exam, you got to get the x-rays, a CAT scan, MRI, or whatever the heck they're going to do to figure out what the heck is going on, and then come up with a treatment from there. So he might be doing a day or three in the hospital, who knows? Depending on what all they got to do to figure out what's up with his back. Ooh. Well, does this count as a tropical fruit? It's pineapple flavored. Sorry, I will not be giving up my Chilean coffees. I'm keeping these buggers. I'm holding on to them. It'll go with the rest of my Ooh, lemon lime is my favorite USMRE drink mix. That's my favorite, and not just because it's green. Well, it depends on the bread itself. What kind of bread? What flavor profile it might have. You know, if it's just your straight up white or wheat sandwich bread, you know, I'll take it anyway. Toasted. If it's a flat bread, just warmed up a little bit. You know, like a naan or a pita. Oh, potato bread is awesome. I enjoy a good potato bread. But when I was at Walmart earlier this month, I looked for potato bread. There was none on the bread shelves. So that'll have to wait for another time when I can get me a loaf of potato bread. But I do get it once in a while when I do see it. Well, and folks, at least you don't have to worry about U.S. Customs raiding those packages when they get to you. That's the chance I take here, or all of us here in the U.S. take when we get stuff in from another country, and sometimes they can take more than just meat items. You know, that RCIR that got raided, they took the little baby spork out of the stove kit box. Not that I would use it, but I add that to my collection of plastic utensils. as part of my emergency stash. But yeah, they took that out of there, along with the 3 meat items out of that ration. And others have had non-meat items taken out, like a protein bar was taken out of a Norwegian ration. A drink mix was taken out of a Norwegian ration. Now what's up with that? Those custom thieves get awful greedy. Yeah, they don't destroy the stuff they take out of rations, they eat it. They get free food on us. Yeah, the RIER that was given to me by Aletha, that one was a good one. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, that one did not have some of the things that you would get in the RCIR. But, that's okay because I pulled a drink mix from my own stash. Yeah, that's it. See, they want to steal our goods, and we pay for it. I'm sure glad they didn't get those yummies from Poland that Delicious sent to me. So it makes it harder for us to get rations because we don't know what's going to happen. And of course, there's always the Postal Service likes to have their way with boxes. Today I watched Jack of Trades open up a Minotaur Trading Company box. It had a fragile sticker on it, but some of the items inside got dinged up. The cans got dinged up from being bounced around. Yeah, I've had boxes or packages from Amazon get messed up when they get delivered by carriers other than Amazon's own people. And I don't like FedEx because they don't like to follow instructions that people in buildings like mine have to give them, where the only way to get into the building is to have a key because the code boxes don't work. And sometimes they will reroute packages to a FedEx satellite location that's far from where you live. Last time, I had to go to a different Walgreens than a FedEx office that's just blocks from where I live. I took a half-hour bus ride to get over to that location, but another time FedEx sent it to a place that's not even close to a bus route. And then they lost it. And so I had to go back to the seller and say, this got screwed up because FedEx lost it. And so they had to resend another package. And of course, once in a great while, I'll get something from DHL that comes from out of the country. The closest DHL location is Cedar Rapids. That's in eastern Iowa, not all that far from where CT will be slipping through tomorrow, Iowa City. But DHL wanted me to go to Cedar Rapids to pick it up, and I said, I don't drive. How am I supposed to do that? They used to have an access point here in Des Moines at the Walgreens that I go to most often because that's where I get my prescriptions from. But they stopped doing that years ago. But at least they will call or text me upon arrival, whereas FedEx won't. And their so-called online tracking doesn't actually have live tracking like Amazon and UPS. Well, that's good, Elsie. You don't want to get your dupa fired. Well, that's happened too. Now, there have been instances where ballots that were mailed into local election offices by voters are supposed to be separated from other mail so that they get delivered on time. So there have been ballots that were just mixed up with other mail and just sitting somewhere and not delivered in a timely manner because, that's a time-sensitive item. You have to get it there by a certain date. Otherwise, that ballot cannot be counted. And that voter has been shut out. So that has happened here in Iowa and elsewhere. And of course, if people buy prescriptions and have them mailed, that can be an issue. I will not do that. I do not trust the U.S. Postal Service with prescription meds. Because there are thieves within the organization that could decide to have a little nip. Yeah, some countries, their mail service is really, really slow. It's hard to track. I sold something on eBay years ago to a foreign buyer. It took 4 months for it to get to that person. And I've sent stuff to Australia, and it's taken a couple of months to get there. and it costs a crap ton. And I had sent stuff to Canada to my friend who lives up in London, Ontario. And it's taken probably a month to get up there. Yeah, that's it, Elsie. I will not do mail order prescriptions because I just do not feel they would be secured. Now there's a company called Jace Medical which sells antibiotics that are prescribed to the customer. You know, you talk to one of their doctors and you get a legit prescription, but I don't know what their shipping service is, what service they use for shipping, but if it's postal service, I would probably not go that route. But if they use another service, then I might consider if it was in my budget. They would have to do a totally nondescript box, just like a plain brown box with no identifying info other than maybe some name and an address that might not give a clue as to what is really in there. But when I was using the Walmart for fulfilling my quarterly insurance allowance, that I can get $60 every 3 months to use on over-the-counter meds and certain other qualifying products. I had an issue with FedEx because they say there was a restriction on the package and it was over-the-counter meds. You know, stuff like, like Advil or a cold medicine or a vitamin or something like a bandage, a pack of gauze, a gauze bandage or some, gauze pads or something like that. They would not deliver them to my address. And they would not deliver them to a FedEx office. Now, I had to go to their distribution center to pick it up. So when they changed to where I can actually go to a store like a Walgreens or Walmart and use the card like a debit card to buy those same types of products, I like that better because I can see what's in stock. Now I don't have to worry about shipping hassles. I'm going in the store to pick up prescriptions or other things anyway. So when January comes, I'm gonna take that insurance card, go into Walgreens or Walmart, probably Walgreens because that's where I get my prescriptions, and I will pick up $60 worth of stuff without having to worry about shipping hassles. Yeah, that's okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one good anyway. Now, I've been on here over 2 hours. But it was good having you all in here. And for those that came in late, you have to check it out from the beginning to see what all this looked like. But still, good conversation. So, anyway, yeah, where to begin homestead? I ate a Chilean ration, so you have to check it out from the beginning once YouTube gets done processing it. But anyway, I do want to thank you all for watching. So next week I'll probably pull the beef ravioli MRE and chat out on that one. So anyway, thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.